Hi, this is Zach Mead with the US Chartbreakers here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 6th of June. Starting off with the S&P, which has delivered the goods in terms of the latest gap higher for the bulls. We were hoping that once we were above 52.64, the old spring peak there on an end-of-day close basis, we'd have a move up to the resistance line projection there from back in the autumn. That's currently pointing at 54.90, so looking for that by the end of next month. Obviously, the way things are going, we might even get that by the end of this month, so very encouraging. On the downside, the worst at the moment is seen as being a test for support, 52.64, ahead of a move towards 5,500. The next market is the Nasdaq 100, and here, similar to the S&P, if not a little bit better, and the rebound coming through after the old resistance was tested around 18,400. Above that, we've been looking for the top of that rising trend channel from the end of August, 19,600, perhaps as soon as the end of this month, although previously we were looking for that to happen by the end of next month. The nightmare scenario would be that we have to test the 50-day line, 18,100, as new support, but if you'll see look at some of the stocks at the moment in the tech area, that doesn't seem very likely. Moving on to Apple, and the first stock here today. Here we broke a line of resistance there in the middle of last month, around $187. We've been looking for the top of that rising trend channel from back in August last year, which is currently pointing to around $215. We're looking for that over the next 2 to 3 months, and ideally we stay above the old May resistance there around $192 while we are at it. Amazon is next, and here the situation is that we've had basically a rising trend channel situation for much of the recent past. You can extend that line there from back in October last year, basically mirroring what we're seeing on the Nasdaq. And the top of the channel there heading as high as the $200 area. Looking for that by the end of next month. The next trigger really for the bulls would be an end of day close back above the 50-day moving average, the blue line there. That's currently at $182. Moving down the list, and one of the big volume movers of yesterday was is coming up, and here you can see that the situation looking quite decent for CVRX. The rebound, basically a bear trap rebound from below the May support there at $7.20, and above that looking for the shares to head up to the top of that falling trend channel from back in the summer of last year, and that's currently pointing at $13.50, which we're looking for by the end of next month. Obviously breaking the middle of that W formation there around $8.70 to 80 is the key for a turnaround. But we've had bullish divergence in the RSI window, so things are looking quite chirpy there for CVRX. On to another big mover from yesterday, and hopefully it'll keep going as it was on decent volume. The picture here for CrowdStrike is that we've bounced basically off the floor of that rising trend channel from back in October. The 50-day line now support $317, and while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking for $410 plus by the end of next month. The people's favorite, maybe not E-Trade's favorite, but GameStop is next, and have to say the news that Roaring Kitty might be banned or not be able to trade through E-Trade seemed to be a fundamental buy signal in its own right, and that seems to be working at the moment. We basically bounced off the top of the gap from the beginning of the week, and looking for the initial target there, $35, after that as high as $50, and the upper parallel of that rising trend channel from March by the end of next month. This stage, the worst we are expecting would be $22 and the floor of that channel and the floor of the latest gap. On to Hewlett-Packard, and here you can see that it's been a nice spike to the upside. We had gap higher back in March, and gap down actually at the end of last month, but the volatility is still within a rising trend channel, a wide one, top of the channel there heading for $22 plus, which we're looking for by the end of this month, while we hold above recent resistance in the $18.80 area. A less familiar name coming up next in the form of Inteletics, and here you can see that we had a temporary gap down through the floor of the rising trend channel, therefore Intellinetics, and the view at the moment is that while there's no end-of-day close back below the 50-day moving average, $7.15, we expect this market to resume a zigzag within a rising trend channel, heading as high as $11.60 perhaps by the end of next month, but really want to stay on the right side of the $7 area. Onto a great mover that we've had here with Laird Supergroup. We've been covering this, but initial target was to be $4.10, and above that we had an upper parallel heading for $5, basically heading for $6, which could be hit by the end of this month. Great setup there after the gap higher back in March. Micron, the next contender, and here you can see progress within a rising trend channel from October. We've got recent support and the floor of that channel around $124. Above that, looking for the top of the channel as high as $154 by the end of next month. Very happy to see the next stock on the leaderboard, Novavax. It's hit not only our first target but our second target there, around $16.50. That leaves us looking for the final near-term target, which was previously called as being that gap and the resistance on the way down back in November 22, around the $25.65 level, and we're looking for that over the next week or two. Ideally, we now stay on the right side of $19, or $18.80, which was resistance on the way down. Stock of the year, or maybe stock of the century, the way things are going, is NVIDIA. Here we've broken through the top of our rising trend channel, the red one there, which was around $1,130, and antitrust measures permitting, we could hit that resistance line there from November as high as $12.60 before the bubble bursts, if it will ever burst on that situation. On to the last three. The first one is a decent looking situation. Resolute hit our initial target there, a resistance line there from last year at $4.40. Above that, we were looking for the upper parallel of that resistance line, and in fact the upper parallel of that broadening triangle from back at the end of 2022. That is heading for $6.80, and we're looking for that well before the end of this month. I think it's the first time here for the next stock, Stitch Fix, and here we've got a broadening triangle, but we've also got a bear trap island reversal, one of the strongest setups around. That suggests that at least while we're above the floor of the gap there around $3, and while we stay above that level, looking for $5 by the end of this month. Moving on to the last stock, and here not quite as exciting as maybe some of the other ones, but Variant just trying to break out here after a false breakdown through the floor of the rising trend channel there from back in September. $40 is the target here, while we remain above the 50-day line around $31. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.